what a great space this is. I love all the pedestrian areas, and I'm supposed to be wearing that. May 2nd, right? Wasn't that the only gift? It's the only gift I ever got from Stephen Harper, is that it's so easy to say vote May in May. It's so easy to say May to win. It's so easy to say May Day is May 1st, but Canada's real May Day is going to be May 2nd, when we elect Greens. And I wanted to say how much I love being in Calgary. But the first question I had from someone in the media, which all of you who know, and particularly Susan, where I visit at her house every time I'm here, knows that I've been in Calgary a great deal. The first question I had was, is this your first visit? So it made me start thinking, I'm reminiscing about my experience in the Calgary Stampede Best Dressed Leaders Contest. And I wanted to share this with you because I'm curious about it. What happened the first time that I was attempted to be the best dressed leader is I was the worst dressed leader. Stéphane Dion was the best dressed. This was the summer of 2008. I was the worst dressed leader. Well, I didn't realize what Western wear really was. I thought I could get by with going to a second-hand clothing store in Nova Scotia and buying a lot of denim. And I want you to know that's not how you're going to be best dressed leader. So the next time I went to a Calgary outfitter store and I put myself in the hands of a competent sales clerk named Dana. And I said, Dana, I want to buy whatever it takes to be Canada's best-dressed leader in the Calgary Stampede this year. And you know what? She did it. I was best-dressed leader in the Calgary Stampede contest. Now, on such things hang the future of the planet. However, the next year I came back, so summer of 2009 I'd won. Summer 2010 I came back and I found Dana. I said, let's go for 2 for 2. Let's go back. So I great outfit. You know what? They didn't name a best dressed leader. Once I won, they canceled the contest. So this brings me to the leaders' debate. I got in 2008 because of public protest and people demanding that this strange little media consortium of media executives wasn't allowed to keep us out since they had no rules and no criteria. And a lot of people, I won't say it myself, but certainly a lot of journalists, a lot of pundits said, my gosh, that woman, she won the leaders' debate. So in 2011, they said, no, not allowed. We're not changing our minds this time. We're going to be really, really firm. We don't change at the last minute for anything. They went to court and they said to the judge, it's far too late to change anything. This is a vast and complex production, television leaders' debate. We can't change a single element. The next week, as yours pointed out, the leaders wrote a letter that they all signed together to say, let's move the French debate so it doesn't conflict with the Habs-Bruins game. So we know what's important in this country, and unfortunately it's not democracy. We know what counts in this country, and unfortunately right now, it's more of the predictable same old of a really bad version of a Punch and Judy show in which the political leaders of the other parties do the predictable thing. I think, I'm very disheartened by the increasingly vicious attack ads. We put forward a very sensible suggestion way before the writ drop. We put forward our own attack ad on attack ads, and we used it to buttress our position that we should do what they do in the United Kingdom and France and Belgium and Brazil and Israel and many other countries around the world. And we just say, to avoid the airwaves being contaminated with negative advertisements that only work to discourage voter turnout, those countries actually do not allow political parties or their support groups to buy time on television, so that you can be watching the Grey Cup without having an assault attack on your life by an attack ad in the middle of the Grey Cup or an attack ad in the middle of the Oscars. This is the kind of cultural shift in Canada that we don't want. We want to rise up in our politics. We want to see our politics embrace hope and absolutely reject fear-mongering. We want to see our politics be... We want to see our political leaders and the MPs in the House of Commons behave in ways that do not require a parental warning lest your children wander into the room and see this kind of behavior that we see in question period. I'm committed to this, that when elected as the Member of Parliament for Saanich Gulf Islands, I will restore respect and civility to the House of Commons by ending heckling and question period. That's my first commitment. And when we have democracy working again, more Canadians will vote again. And when we have more Canadians voting and we have effective government, we can focus on things that matter. George listed some of them. How can we be in the middle of a federal election campaign where we've dispatched Canadian jets to Libya and no one's talking about what's the mission, how far does it go, are we at war in Libya? The Prime Minister said, he used the words at war. The other world leaders didn't say that. They said we're there on the responsibility to protect doctrine, to make sure that Gaddafi doesn't exercise revenge on the people of his own country. But other people are saying, look, we don't even know who the rebels are. Are they pro-democracy rebels? Then Lawrence Cannon said we might want boots on the ground. I hate how men talk about boots on the ground. I've never heard a woman talk about boots on the ground. I'm trying to bring gender analysis into this. But did they forget what's in boots? Human feet. Sons and daughters. Why would we send people to war in a country where we don't know what it's about, what the mission is, where it ends? And we're in an election campaign and we're not even talking about something that's happening right now without any debate in Parliament. Isn't this the right time to engage Canadians in the central question of our foreign policy? Are we a war-making country or are we a peace-making country? We're the only party that put out a major statement on Libya during this election campaign, and I'm sure that unless you are assiduous readers of our website, you never saw it, because it never was covered anywhere. But now is the time for world leaders, and Canada should be in the lead, to say, this is where we change the mission from a no-fly zone and bombing to a robust diplomatic effort to resolve the conflict in Libya, not to have a protracted civil war in which we take sides, but to make it clear we intervene only for humanitarian purposes in other countries' business, and we make sure that lives are protected, and we resolve the conflict through peacemaking, no matter how long it takes to resolve. That's what we should be doing in the Middle East instead of taking sides. We're a country that should always stand for conflict resolution and peace. We're also a country, I see my friend Reverend Bill Fitz in the audience, and we are a country that should not tolerate poverty in our midst. I've taken his message across country because I found it so shocking that here in Calgary, when his United Church opens its doors for a come-in from the cold overnight, so that homeless people can find shelter from the cold, the majority of the people taking shelter in Bill's church are children. Now that, to me, is shameful. We're a wealthy country. We can certainly afford to insure, and these are children where both parents are working and still can't find affordable housing. We have got to end that level of poverty, that children can't have a safe roof over their head, both parents working and they can't find affordable housing. Well, we have a solution for that. We have a platform that speaks directly to the needs of municipalities and brings in a significant program and a commitment to affordable housing. It must be done. And we have to end poverty in Canada, and it won't be an overnight effort. Ending poverty starts with ensuring that guaranteed income supplement goes up for the poorest, that we bring in tax shifting so that the lowest earning Canadians don't start paying income tax till they make $20,000 a year. And our long-term goal, and it is a long-term goal, every province and territory would have to negotiate with us and agree that we should have a guaranteed livable income so that no Canadian ever again lives in poverty. And justice for First Nations, George mentioned, not in the leaders' debates, but this is an area of pure federal responsibility. This is an area where the federal government hasn't even ensured that it's safe to drink the water on First Nations reserves. This is shocking. Where the level of education is so poor, where so many Indigenous youth and First Nations youth find themselves vulnerable, where the suicide rates are a scandal and a tragedy in this country. This should be something we talk about in the election campaign, and I'm challenged the other leaders to start talking about it now. And we can't ignore the crisis of the climate crisis. I cannot get over the fact that it's possible in a democracy for the media elite and the other parties to decide that the single largest threat to our future is, in their words, not an issue in the election campaign. It's not a political statement. It's not a fashion statement. Leadership requires an ability to look at the evidence, look at the facts, and join in a global resolve that we don't surrender to what appears to be we're on the edge of an abyss. I'm on the edge of these steps, but we're on the edge of an abyss in relation to the climate crisis. Leadership requires, in sort of Churchillian sense, before the Second World War, where Winston Churchill said, we're entering the era of consequences, where we are in our society. We have been, as boomers, living on a very big credit card, and we've racked up one heck of a debt. The debt that a lot of people talk about is the fiscal deficit, and the fact that Canadians now have a $530 billion debt, $93 million a day in interest payments alone for the government of Canada. That's a serious debt. But our credit card hasn't stopped with racking up fiscal debt. We've been racking up the social deficit, too. The growing gap between the rich and the poor, the crumbling healthcare system in this country. This is a social debt. And our ecological debt is the biggest of all. So we've entered the era of consequences. It's time to be responsible. It's time to stop saying somebody else can take care of our debt. Let's just get a new credit card. Let's just pretend it will all go away if we keep selling a good news story. Canadians believe, and we believe as Greens, that there's a positive future in making these changes. More jobs, better jobs, jobs for young people, early childhood education, protecting our healthcare system. All of this is not only possible, it's necessary. It's not only necessary, it's essential. What we're putting forward is the only positive vision for a country that we can believe our children will have the same quality of life that we've experienced, that our grandchildren and great-grandchildren can explore and experience the extraordinary grandeur of this province and its wilderness, of clean water and breathable air and a healthy and smart economy. And if you want those things, there's only one way to get them, and that's to vote Green. So embrace hope. Embrace hope. Embrace a positive vision. Reject the politics of cynicism and negativity. Reach out your hands to one another right across this great country and say, Canadians are not divided by fear. We embrace hope. We love each other. We care for each other. And we see the future, and it's green. Thank you.